Growing up as a child in Ghana, there was a Nigerian in every town and almost every village in Ghana. At some point, I was totally convinced that the two countries share the same borders, not until I was disproved by my geography teacher. Even with that, I still had to look on the map to be fully convinced. There were actually two countries between us, Togo and Benin. So why does these two countries act like siblings with sibling rivalry and even throw jabs over these two countries as each other? Please don't forget to like the video, hit the subscribe button and smash the notification bell. Thank you so much.
For 200 years, Britain was the most powerful nation in the world. From Canada to India, from Australia to Nigeria, from the Caribbean to South Africa, the British Empire once ruled over a third of the people on Earth.
It all started with the British Empire. They wanted to establish a British resident in Kumasi to control the gold trade in the region, which was a key economic interest for the British, and establish dominance over the coastal areas of present-day Ghana. To do this, the British Empire fought the Ashanti people consistently until they prevailed. But then the Ashantis were not that easy to conquer. They were very stubborn and rebellious, often attempting to expand their power and empire, eating into areas occupied by the British. This resulted into several Anglo-Ashanti wars throughout the 19th century. Although the Ashantis emerged victorious in the early parts of the conflict, that's the first, second, and maybe the third Anglo-Ashanti wars, the Ashantis were beating the British here and there. They needed to do something urgently. This is where Nigeria comes in. Under the British West Africa were countries like the Gambia, Sierra Leone, Ghana, and Nigeria. Until independence, these countries had the same currency and were controlled by the British. So, the British Empire in Ghana sought their counterparts in Nigeria, northern Nigeria to be precise, to provide them with the Hausa soldiers to whoop the ass of the Ashanti people. Warfare was a constant reality for the Hausa people for centuries. They had regular conflict with neighboring groups and even among themselves. These people were very strong and could fight to their last breath, but the Ashantis were very wise. Eventually, the British defeated Ashanti people in the 4th and 5th Anglo-Ashanti Wars, obviously with the help of the Hausa soldiers and a few African allies, that's the Fantis, Gans, Achims, and the Adans. This was the beginning where Nigeria began interfering with the affairs of Ghana. Fast forward, Ghana gained independence in 1957. Many Nigerians moved to Ghana in the 1950s, primarily because of Ghana's newly gained independence, which led to a booming economy and opportunities for migrant labor, particularly in the construction sector, as Ghana became the first sub-Saharan African country to achieve independence in 1957, making it a beacon for economic growth in the region. This attracted Nigerian migrants seeking better prospects. Over time, the Nigerians began bringing in their relatives and loved ones. They were taking over the country. In fact, they were almost everywhere and in every business sector in Ghana. The Ghanaians obviously didn't like this. They felt the Nigerians were taking their jobs and the country as a whole. Not until November 18, 1969, the Progress Party, led by Dr. Kofi Busia, announced the Aliens Compliance Order, which was an expulsion order that forced undocumented immigrants to leave the country, majority of which were mostly Nigerians, particularly the Yoruba people. But the Ghanaians did not know this. The Yoruba people were business-minded people and made the long-term contributions to Ghana's economy and society, but were labeled aliens by the new African state. It was just a matter of time that Ghana was going to learn the hard way. Fast forward, the Ghanaian economy fell down significantly a few years after independence due to a combination of several factors, including overspending by the government, reliance on a single commodity, that's cocoa, for export, poor economic policies like overvalued exchange rate, and political instability that led to a lack of investment and further economic downslide. Now, Nigeria has gotten Ghana at the very corner it wanted. Karma is real. Meanwhile, a few years after the mass expulsions of Nigerians by Ghanaians, Nigeria discovered oil in vast quantities and the country's economy grew rapidly due to increase in oil and gas export. Oil and gas export accounted for over 95% of the country's export earnings. Luckily, this was the period of world industrialization where oil and gas was really needed for the proper functions of machines. In 1983, Nigeria retaliated and deported up to 1 million Ghanaians and other African immigrants by an executive order from President Shehu Shagari. As they say, revenge is a dish best served cold. As if it was a planting at the very period when Ghana was facing a severe drought and economic problems, the Ghanaians that were sent back came to meet an empty country. Nothing was working in the country, no food, no job, nothing. This further worsened the relationship between the two countries. The relationship between Ghana and Nigeria is a fascinating dance of playful antagonism and mutual respect. Over the years, a light-hearted competition has blossomed between the two nations, each hoping to one-up the other and revel in the occasional stumble. It's all in good fun, but beneath the surface simmers a genuine rivalry fueled by cultural pride and a desire to be recognized as the best. This rivalry has evolved over time, and one of its fiercest battlegrounds is the Canary War, the Great Jollof Rice War. Obviously, as a Ghanaian, I stand firmly in the camp that our jollof rice reigns supreme, a sentiment shared by discerning palate everywhere. But the Nigerians, bless their hearts, remain staunchly convinced of their own jollof superiority, leading to endless debate and taste tests, with predictably biased outcomes, of course. Then there's the ever-present football rivalry. While Nigeria boasts a formidable footballing history, few Ghanaian fans will ever forget the sweet taste of victory from that legendary 7-0 thrashing Ghanaian delivered, a scoreline that continues to haunt the Nigerian football dreams. In the music scene, the table turns a bit. Nigeria undeniably dominates in most genres, a powerful house churning out global hits. However, even they might concede that when it comes to rap, Ghana hosts its own, offering a unique flavor and lyrical prowess that keeps the competition interesting. We have something special. Lurking beneath it all is a historical quirk that still stings some Nigerian pride. The fact that smaller Ghana gained independence before big Nigeria is a point of contention for some. The feeling persists, especially among older generations, that Nigeria, by virtue of its size and preserved potential, should have led the way. However, back in those early days, Ghana, buoyed by its rich cocoa harvest and increased vision, was arguably wealthier and more developed than Nigeria before the discovery of oil reshaped their economic landscape. This complex mix of historical context, cultural difference, and a good-natured competition forms the very fabric of the Ghana-Nigeria relationship. It is the stuff of legends, a simmering tension that lurks behind every conversation, every argument, whether it's a friendly banter over a shared meal or a heated national debate. It is this playful rivalry that makes our bond unique, and who knows what the next source of competition will be as time goes on. Perhaps it will be which country has the best fufu. One can dream.